Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, another confirmed case, another death in the fight against the coronavirus. A pair accused of causing public terror. Plus, who's feeding the swimming pigs on Exuma?
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joachim. Topping news tonight, Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands confirming one additional case of COVID-19, bringing the total number to 54. A man in his 50s died overnight from the virus, bringing the death toll to 9. During a press conference this evening, Sands explained that 668 samples have been tested for COVID-19 so far, with 54 testing positive. Expanded testing, he said, is expected to begin this weekend.
The Bahamas finds itself in a fairly enviable position of accelerating quite well, such that if we compare what we're doing regionally or to countries of similar size or whatever metric you want to use, I believe that the ramping up of testing is proceeding quite well. And we're going to continue to test and increase the amount of testing.
Health officials have identified 892 contacts through its contact tracing system. Ministry of Health consultant Dr. Merceline Del Regis said the lockdown over the Easter weekend helped the country to avoid 26 cases. This came after a previous model had projected the country would have been at 90 cases by Palm Sunday. They were also asked how effective the weekend lockdowns are, given the long lines at businesses once the lockdown is over and Bahamians hit the streets.
I can only hope, I don't want to say non-compliance, but there's a lot of traffic on the road. There's lack of social distancing. Health recommends. We promote. We try. It's up to the population, really, to adhere to those behaviors.
According to Sands, there are 10,000 rapid test kits in country. Currently, the Ministry of Health has 7,000 of the conventional test kits, which Sands says do not give false negatives and are known as the gold standard.
Even though we have 10,000 rapid kits now, we are going to get additional kits that we believe are more reliable, more accurate, in order to augment the RT-PCR kits available in country now.
South Beach Clinic has been identified as an urgent health care center and is now open. The purpose is to assess people suspected of being COVID-19 positive. Now, as for the Family Islands and whether curfew and lockdowns can be lifted since there is no travel to and from those islands, Sands said this.
The recommendations coming from our technical teams are being considered, and a determination will be made as to when to relax the lockdowns, the restriction of movement in these communities. If this is sustained over the next few days, I believe that we will be able to pull the trigger on some of these decisions.
Well, a man and a woman face charges in the magistrate's court today over a video that went viral on social media. Jared Higgs has the story.
26-year-old Raquisha McPhee, seen in the mask, and 27-year-old Mark Anthony Beckford were charged with causing public terror at their arraignment before Magistrate Andrew Forbes. The allegation is that on Wednesday, April 15th, the pair, being concerned together with the use of a cell phone by means of the internet, a public place, did intentionally and unlawfully threaten to rob individuals within the community due to COVID-19 restrictions on their business. McPhee, who owns a business selling tacos, faced an additional charge of causing public terror and a charge of obscene and violent language. That charge accuses the Kennedy subdivision resident of using a cell phone and the internet to make use of obscene and violent language to provoke Beckford to commit a breach of the peace. In replying to the charges, McPhee told the court that some elements of the accusations were true, but not all. They will also be outfitted with electronic monitoring bracelets. After questioning whether she would be allowed to use a cell phone while on bail, Forbes told McPhee that he never said anything about her not being able to use a cell phone, but he added, "If I were you, I would be a little more cautious about my use of cell phones." The pair go on trial on October 6th. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest is hitting back at the opposition leader who claimed there is a proposal to force cuts in all government ministries, which could include public servant salaries. While Turnquest is setting the record straight, he spoke with Berthany McDermott.
Reckless and irresponsible is how the Deputy Prime Minister described Davis's claims that government is considering pay cuts for civil servants. According to the DPM, that's not in the government's plan at this time.
The government of the Bahamas has made no decision with respect to cutting public emoluments, public service emoluments, or any benefits that the public service enjoys to this day.
Opposition leader Philip Davis said in a statement, "I have learned today that government is proposing matters which in fact might severely reduce domestic spending and demand. There is a proposal to force cuts in all ministries, including possibly the salaries of public servants." Turnquest condemned that statement and sought to set the record straight.
It is unfortunate that the leader of the opposition would have made such a statement. Premature at best, even if it was so. And as I said, we have not made any such, had any such discussions, and certainly not made any such decisions. For the leader of the opposition to have sought to strike fear into the hearts of the public service, and by wider extension, the broader public, I think it's irresponsible.
Turnquest urged leaders to be careful and ensure that their statements do not generate instability among residents, especially during a time when Bahamians are already experiencing anxiety brought on by the coronavirus pandemic.
People have lost their jobs. People are worried about what the future will hold. And to add this kind of speculation is just irresponsible for a leader in this country. And I condemn him for it. I think he wants to be relevant. He wants to make the party relevant, and I understand that. Politics continues. However, we have to be careful that the statements we make do not create an atmosphere of instability.
The finance minister also assured the public that government currently has the resources to meet all of its commitments. However, he noted that in the future there will be some adjustments.
No doubt there's going to be difficult decisions that have to be made, both in the short term, based upon what we know, and in the long term, based upon our estimations and forecasts as to what will happen both domestically and globally. And so there's no doubt, as I say, there's going to be some adjustments. What those will look like and where they will be is the process that we're going through now.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
The tourism industry has come to a complete standstill during the COVID-19 pandemic. Director General Joy Jibrillou said while she knows tourism is resilient, the numbers for the last few weeks are startling. Jillian Gray reports.
Both January and February boasted record-breaking arrivals for the tourism industry. But when the global pandemic hit the Bahamas, those numbers took a turn for the worse, signaling a different kind of record-breaking number.
If you look at the last 15 days of March, it is out of our hands. It's in God's hands. The numbers are zero arrival numbers. So yes, we will hit history. We will make history again, not for the reasons that we want.
Director General of Tourism Joy Jibrillou said after Hurricane Dorian, the industry started to rebound, but the current crisis has dealt another blow to the tourism industry. Before the pandemic forced governments to close airports and advise their citizens not to travel, April was shaping up to be another busy month as hotels reported near full bookings.
It was all really going very well. And to see where we are today, nobody could have predicted it. 9-10 weeks ago, no one would have thought it would be possible. So I know that hotels are feeling pained for multiple reasons. Yes, the loss of business, but the impact that it must be having on employees' families.
Jibrillou said many of their industry partners are hopeful of a bright future and are simply praying that the pandemic passes sooner rather than later. She added that no one can truly say when it will be okay for travel to resume, but for now, her ministry is planning not only to bolster business but also ensure that people aren't bringing the virus back to our shores.
That we must ensure that it is safe for people to enter our country. I say that in the context that even if we within the Bahamas curb the spread of coronavirus, and we see that our numbers have fallen and we can get back to business within the Bahamas. If our source markets are still battling with coronavirus, we will have to be very careful in opening up our borders so that we don't restart this process all over again.
As soon as the all clear is given, Jibril said airline partners are standing by, ready to fly in. She encouraged tourism employees to hang on during this rough period, as the industry, she said, is resilient. Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, airport closures have not only stranded Bahamians in foreign countries, but also residents stuck on the Family Islands. For one Dorian survivor who returned to Abaco for the first time since the monster storm ravaged that island, a quick trip has turned into a nearly month-long visit. Jasmine Brown reports.
Honestly, it's crazy.
25-year-old Ashante Rackley thought she had seen it all when Hurricane Dorian destroyed her home, forced her to move to New Providence, and inspired her to start her own business. If she looks familiar, that's because we brought you her inspiring story last December. The devastating Category 5 storm created a business opportunity for the certified semi-permanent makeup artist known as the Brow Angel. Now Rackley has found herself facing another unexpected turn, as she is one of many New Providence residents stuck on another island due to the suspension of inter-island travel because of COVID-19.
I came over for a few days and got stuck, but there's no place I'd rather be stuck than home. Home is where the heart is. So definitely happy to be back and seeing all the work going on. It's a lot going on over here.
Rackley says her trip is the first time she has been to Abaco since the storm leveled her house, and the feeling has been surreal. With nothing left of her child at home but the foundation, she says she has been staying with a friend. But Rackley, who always seems to find the silver lining in the toughest of times, says she believes Dorian has helped prepare Abaconians for anything, including COVID-19.
We can handle COVID-19 better. I wouldn't say that we're not, I wouldn't say that we're fearful, but we're on edge because we know, okay, the possibilities, but we are being vigilant. We're taking the necessary precautions as advised, and yeah, we're just doing the best that we could.
While she has grown accustomed to being on the go, the businesswoman says the COVID-19 curfew has forced her to slow down. Though she isn't able to make a living right now, she has decided to spend her time doing as much good as she can by volunteering at a distribution center in Marsh Harbor, Abaco.
There is hope. There's definitely hope. This is not just stopping point. This is the time that you sit down and you think, what is needed? What is essential? What is going to always make money? What is always going to keep me busy? What is always going to keep food on the table? This is the time that you look and you see what services are needed. And like I always tell people, I take the leap of faith.
Now, Rackley says it's that faith that keeps her motivated, as well as her ability to take it one day at a time that keeps her going. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Still to come, local farmers see a triple-digit increase in sales. Stay tuned.
So the project really pays itself back.
Correct.
They set up
at the conference, the school.
As a journalist, I always have to focus on the facts, and sometimes that means going to investigate for myself. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on RTV.
Local farmers have been among the big winners during the economic fallout from the coronavirus. Jared Hicks has more.
In the last 3.5 weeks, we've seen like a 900% increase in sales demand for our products.
Aaron and Shavara Ineas are the husband and wife duo at the helm of Chickcharney Farms.
We took the stuff from Andros on our farm and we delivered them to Nassau and started delivering them to our clients.
Before the fallout from the coronavirus, business was doing pretty well, and the owners of the 7-year-old business even opened a storefront. But with global shutdowns making international news and long lines at grocery stores a new norm, the farmers can't keep up with demand.
It has also sent us scrambling as well. We network with many farmers in the country, and we are looking to buy stuff from other farmers. We will definitely buy it and sell it to other persons as well, because people are panicking as it relates to local food.
We met up with the owners at their newest farm location near Bonefish Pond off Carmichael Road.
This property is about 2.5 acres of crown land.
That New Providence development is meant to help the couple increase supply. However, the company's main farm is in Andros, where Shavara hails from. Her family has been farming for 47 years, but Shavara says her upper hand is business, especially online orders.
Though we have farming history, though we are third-generation farmers, our model is more towards an agribusiness. We do lots of manufacturing. We manufacture jams, jellies, sauces. All of that stuff that is in our store, we grab it out of our store and we put it in those boxes.
Now, one of the biggest challenges facing farmers around the country is getting sizable investment, and it's no different for these farmers. Some estimates indicate that the country only produces 3 to 5% of its domestic food demand. That's concerning, since some governments are reportedly mulling over whether to reduce exports of certain foods during the crisis. Minister of Agriculture Michael Pintard says he wants much more food produced locally, but most, if not all, farmers say it will require levels of funding that governments past and present have never committed to.
Farming is very expensive. We've worked through a few channels. I know we've got some investments from the Bahamas Development Bank. We are currently working and also looking for investors, hopefully pursuing them. Hopefully with the government initiative and stuff like that, that they have planned, lots of farmers can get a really good financial input to really get their farms going.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, a recovered COVID-19 patient is calling for more testing to be carried out. Dr. Tony Frankson was released from Doctors Hospital West last week after a 12-day hospitalization and a nearly 3-week battle with the novel coronavirus. The disease specialist says given the fact that many people may be carrying the virus with little symptoms to show, testing needs to increase.
I wish they would be testing like crazy and testing all the teachers, potential essential workers, And if you have the symptoms, call the hotline.
During a national address on Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis promised that COVID-19 testing would become more widespread. So far, more than 600 people have been tested and more than 700 people are in quarantine. Frankson urged young people to take the virus seriously.
They should remember that although they're blessed, they can be a danger to the older folks, their older parents and grandparents and so on. I believe we should not be pushing to get our children back to school yet for that very reason. Because it's for the children, it's fine, but they're going to school to teachers who are 35, 40, 50 years old, And so we should be very judicious about how we make that move.
Still to come, how the famous swimming pigs are faring during the pandemic. Stay tuned.
The project really pays itself back.
Correct.
They set up
at the conference.
The school.
As a journalist, I always have to focus on the facts, and sometimes that means going to investigate for myself. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on RTV.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Despite having to shut down his family's water sports business and lay off staff members, one Exuma businessman says he's found a simple joy in taking care of some famous friends, the swimming pigs.
Get up in there.
They're perhaps the only ones allowed beach access now that they've been closed to the public. While we're stuck inside, the world-famous swimming pigs of Exuma are living the life in the water and are being fed daily, thanks to Justin Lightbourne of Exuma Water Sports.
Well, thanks to Sandals Emerald Bay, Sandals Resorts, they save us all the leftovers from the restaurants. Right now, the only restaurant they have open is the staff cafeteria, but it's still a lot of food. It's usually a bunch of rice, fruits, and vegetables.
Every day, Justin goes out with buckets full of those fruits, veggies, and water for our furry hog friends who've got fans all over the world. And no one loves the special treatment more than them.
It's not easy. We got to pick up the food from Sandals first thing in the morning, head down to the boat, fill up all the waters, and we drive to White Bay Key on the boat, which is where the pigs are, and bring everything up pretty much one by one.
Exuma Water Sports is a staple in the industry on that island. But with emergency orders in place, Lightborn said they've had to shut down operations, which means laying off all 9 of their staff members.
Well, it's actually shut us down completely for almost a month now. And for the first time ever, we've had to let all of our staff go. We've kept them on before during hurricanes, other events where we haven't worked for over a month at a time. We've kept them on for.
So just how long does he think the company can afford to remain closed?
We're hoping we can open up as soon as possible once we know everything is safe, of course. But realistically, I'd say another few months and we're going to have to start figuring out other ways to make it.
And despite the grim outlook of the economy for the coming months, Justin says he finds joy by ensuring the swimming pigs are well taken care of.
Just keeping the pigs happy is a big thing right now.
Well, the Ministry of Tourism has released a new ad. From the Bahamas with Love features scenes from around the Bahamas and recording artist Lenny Kravitz.
At times like these, we're all reminded that storms come and storms go. And what matters the most is that we come together as one. You were there for us, and when the storm passes, we will be here for you.
Director General of Tourism Joy Gibberloo says they don't want to simply put out an ad, but a message to let the world know that the Bahamas cares.
Easter has come. Easter has passed. We see many destinations. They're at the peak or about to, or starting to flatten the curve. And we thought this was a good time just to send out an empathetic message. It is our same brand campaign message, hasn't changed, just a slowed down version with a message that just as you were here for us, we are there with you, and from the Bahamas with love. Short span, this will only run until mid-May, when we will then now recycle back our regular ad.
Still to come, how a shore wind is helping customers. Stay tuned.
So the project really pays itself back.
Correct.
They set up
at the conference,
more the school.
As a journalist, I always have to focus on the facts, and sometimes that means going to investigate for myself. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on RTV.
Hundreds lined up in their cars yesterday for care packages handed out by Ashore Wind. The company gave away 1,000 boxes filled with meat, fish, bread, and other items to customers who co-CEO Leanna Bryce said continue to support their business.
We got their box because they got our box. You know, they're on the front line. They're our front lines. You know, they're there for us, supporting us throughout the year. And at this time in need, we could not turn our backs on them.
I don't know if they're Christian, but let me tell you something. If they ain't Christian, God have a heart for them, and I thank God. God bless them, and they bless them back to people.
The line had traffic backed up along Tony Williams Starling Highway. Aside from customers, EMS personnel were given care packages as well.
Ashore Wind is giving back because we have no other choice at this time. We know everyone else is needing, these are the items that they need. So it's coming from not only Ashore Wind, but the Brighton Newbell Foundation, and our CEOs was
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the go with the Rev Go Play app. Stay tuned for a brand new episode of On the Record with host Jerome Sawyer.